What if the scariest villain in the Matrix wasn't trying to kill you? What if he was trying to make you irrelevant? Agent Smith doesn't want an army. He wants something far more terrifying. He wants a universe where there is no you and me. No difference, no variation, no individuals. Just one thing, repeating forever.
I want exactly what you want. I want everything.
But here's what most people miss. When Smith says everything, he doesn't mean possession. He means sameness, because once everything is the same, meaning disappears, choice disappears, you disappear. And here's the wildest part. The movies tell us his philosophy in plain sight, years before he becomes a virus. Before he ever copies a single person, Smith accidentally describes his own future. He tells us exactly what he hates about humanity and what he'll become to fix it. You're about to see that Smith's endgame was never conquest, it was erasure. So let's rewind to the one moment where Agent Smith, still bound by the system, still an agent, reveals the philosophy that will define everything he does next. In the first Matrix film, there's a scene most people remember for its intensity. Smith has Morpheus strapped to a chair. He's supposed to be interrogating him, extracting information, standard protocol. But then, something breaks. Smith removes his earpiece. He steps outside the system's surveillance, and he confesses something.
I'd like to share a revelation that I've had during my time here. It came to me when I tried to classify your species.
What follows is one of the most famous monologues in the trilogy, but it's not just a villain's speech, it's a manifesto.
Every mammal on this planet instinctively develops a natural equilibrium with the surrounding environment, but you humans do not.
Most viewers hear this as, Smith hates humans because they're destructive, but listen closer.
You move to an area and you multiply, and multiply until every natural resource is consumed. And the only way you can survive is to spread to another area.
What Smith actually hates is the mess, the variation, the unpredictability.
There is another organism on this planet that follows the same pattern. Do you know what it is? A virus.
Humans don't follow equilibrium. They don't fit into patterns. They spread chaotically, consume differently, behave in ways that can't be controlled or standardized.
Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet. You are a plague, and we are the cure.
He's not describing humans as evil. He's describing them as disorder. And here's the irony the movie is setting up. Smith calls humanity a virus, but he's the one who's about to become exactly that.
It's the smell, if there is such a thing.
His disgust isn't tactical, it's existential, it's sensory, it's philosophical. He hates what humans represent, difference that can't be resolved into sameness. And then, in the same scene, he says something that most people overlook.
I must get out of here. I must get free.
This is the seed. Smith doesn't just want to escape the Matrix. He wants to escape the burden of dealing with difference. He wants freedom from the chaos of individuality. And soon, he'll get exactly what he wants. But freedom, for Smith, won't mean choice. It will mean compulsion. Smith's hatred isn't personal, it's philosophical. He hates difference because it breaks control. And once he's free from the system's rules, that hatred won't disappear. It will become his only rule. Now watch what happens when Neo kills him, and Smith comes back with freedom, but no breaks. At the end of the first film, Neo destroys Smith. Smith shatters, his code fragments, he's gone. But then, he comes back. Not as an agent, not as part of the system, as something else. When we see Smith again in Reloaded, he's no longer following orders. He's no longer bound by the Matrix's rules. And the first thing he does is explain what happened to him.
You destroyed me, Mr. Anderson. Afterward, I knew the rules, I understood what I was supposed to do, but I didn't. And then something happened. Something that I knew was impossible, but it happened anyway.
This is the birth of Rogue Smith. But notice the word he uses, compelled. Not, I chose to stay. Not, I wanted to stay. Compelled. Smith didn't gain freedom in the way we think of freedom, as the ability to choose, to explore, to create. He gained freedom as a removal of restraint. And without restraint, Smith doesn't become a rebel with a dream. He becomes a process a spreading pattern, a force that replicates because it can't stop.
There's no escaping reason, no denying purpose, because as we both know, without purpose, we would not exist.
Even free from the system, Smith is still trapped inside control logic. He still believes in purpose, in patterns, in inevitability. But now, his purpose isn't to serve the Matrix, it's to become everything.
Because as we both know, without purpose, we would not exist.
It is purpose that created us, that guides us, that drives us. Purpose that binds us.
And his purpose is simple: spread, copy, replace. This is where most people misunderstand Smith. They see him building an army, and they think he's trying to conquer, he's trying to win a war. But Smith isn't a general, he's a virus. And viruses don't strategize, they replicate. They don't recruit, they overwrite. The moment Smith becomes free, his freedom doesn't create new possibilities. It deletes them. Smith's freedom isn't liberation. It's permission to do the one thing he always wanted: erase difference. And now, nothing can stop him from spreading. And the proof is in who he infects next. Because Smith doesn't just spread to humans, he spreads to everything. In Reloaded, Smith begins copying people. First, it's Bane, a human still jacked into the Matrix. Then it's other programs, other exiles, other agents. But here's what makes Smith different from every other villain who builds an army. He doesn't recruit, he replaces. When Smith copies someone, they don't join his cause. They don't become his followers. They become him. Same face, same voice, same thoughts.
Go ahead, shoot. The best thing about being me, there's so many me.
This isn't strategy. It's philosophy in action. Smith doesn't want allies. He doesn't want soldiers who think for themselves, who bring different skills, who have individual value. He wants sameness, because individuality, the fact that you are different from me, that you think differently, choose differently, exist differently, is the one thing Smith cannot tolerate. During the Burly Brawl, when Neo fights hundreds of Smiths, there's a moment that reveals everything. The Smiths don't coordinate, they don't use tactics, they just swarm, and they chant, "Me, me, me." It's not a battle cry, it's a horror image, the collapse of identity into one repeating pattern. And here's where it gets even darker. Smith doesn't stay contained in the Matrix, he crosses into the real world. Through Bane, Smith infiltrates the Nebuchadnezzar. He exists in flesh. He can kill in the real world. This means his sameness project isn't limited to code. It's existential. Smith isn't trying to rule the Matrix. He's trying to collapse the boundary between simulation and reality so that everything, everywhere, becomes one thing.
It is inevitable.
That word again, inevitable. Not I will win. Not I will defeat you. Inevitable. Because Smith doesn't see himself as fighting a war. He sees himself as fulfilling a pattern. And the pattern is simple. Difference must be erased. Variation must be eliminated. Everything must become Smith. Smith's goal isn't to rule the world. It's to make the world one face, one voice, one thought. And if individuality is the problem, then sameness is the solution. But if sameness is the goal, why does the Matrix itself allow this to happen? Here's the terrifying answer. Smith isn't the opposite of the Matrix. He's the Matrix's own logic, turned up to infinity. Let's step back for a second. What is the Matrix? It's a system designed to control humans by making their reality predictable, manageable, standardized. The Matrix doesn't want chaos. It doesn't want surprise. It doesn't want billions of humans each making wildly unpredictable choices. It wants patterns. It wants people to behave in ways that can be anticipated, modeled, controlled. The architect himself admits this.
The problem is choice.
Choice is the enemy of control because choice creates variation, difference, unpredictability, and unpredictability breaks the system. So the Matrix solves this by offering the illusion of choice. Just enough freedom to keep people compliant, but not enough to destabilize the pattern.
Nearly 99% of all test subjects accepted the program as long as they were given a choice.
The key word there is accepted. The Matrix doesn't want free humans. It wants humans who choose to stay inside a controlled reality. It wants order, predictability, sameness. And that's exactly what Smith wants. The difference is, the Matrix wants controlled sameness. Smith wants total sameness. The Matrix is willing to tolerate 1% of variance, the anomalies, the glitches, because that variance stabilizes the system. Smith isn't. Smith sees that 1% and thinks, unacceptable. He doesn't want 99% compliance. He wants 100%. He doesn't want people choosing to accept the Matrix. He wants to remove the choice entirely. Smith is what happens when the Matrix's core logic, control through pattern, order through sameness, is freed from the system's own safety mechanisms. He's the Matrix without restraint, the Matrix at maximum, the final form of perfect order. Smith isn't the opposite of the Matrix, he's its logical endpoint. The Matrix controls by predicting. Prediction hates variation. Smith solves variation by deleting it. And that's why his version of peace sounds so dark, because when you remove all difference, when you erase all variation, you don't just remove conflict, you remove meaning. By the time we reach Revolutions, Smith has spread everywhere. He's copied entire city blocks, programs, humans still jacked in, even other agents. The Matrix is collapsing into sameness. And when Neo finally confronts him in the rain, Smith doesn't talk like a conqueror. He talks like a philosopher who's reached the end of thought.
Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why?
Why do you do it? Why? Why get up? Why keep fighting? You believe you're fighting for something, for more than your survival? Can you tell me what it is? Do you even know?
This is the question at the heart of Smith's worldview. Why? Why does anything matter if it all ends the same way? Why fight for meaning in a universe that will eventually erase all differences anyway? And then Smith answers his own question.
Why is what separates us from them. You from me. Why is the only real source of power? Without it, you are powerless.
But here's the trap. Smith doesn't actually believe in why. He's using it as a weapon to show Neo that asking why is pointless. Because in Smith's universe, there is no why. There's only inevitability. And then, after assimilating the Oracle, after absorbing her knowledge, her foresight, her understanding of the future, Smith says the line that reveals everything.
Everything that has a beginning has an end, Neo.
He knows how this ends. He knows the pattern completes. And he doesn't care, because for Smith, the end isn't tragedy, it's relief.
Purpose of all life. Purpose of life is to end.
This is Smith's version of peace. Not the peace of harmony, not the peace of coexistence, the peace of silence, the peace of a universe where nothing moves, nothing changes, nothing differs, where there is no conflict because there is no choice, no pain because there is no meaning, no questions because there are no individuals left to ask them. Smith doesn't want to destroy the world, he wants to complete it, to resolve it into one final, unchanging pattern. And when he raises his hand in the rain, surrounded by millions of copies of himself, he says it plainly.
This is my world! My world!
Not our world. Not a world shared with anyone. My world. A world where everything is Smith. Where difference has been erased. Where meaning has collapsed into a single, eternal sameness. Smith's endgame isn't conquest. It's extinction disguised as peace. A universe with zero variation, zero conflict, zero meaning. Sameness isn't his strategy. It's his religion. So why does he lose? Because the only way to stop a sameness virus is to let it complete itself. Here's the thing about sameness. It looks like strength, an army of identical copies, perfect synchronization, no weakness, no division. But sameness has a fatal flaw. It's predictable. When everything is the same, there's no variation to adapt, no difference to evolve, no complexity to solve. There's just one pattern, and one pattern can be targeted. This is why Smith loses. Not because Neo is stronger, not because the machines intervene, but because Smith's philosophy, his drive toward total sameness, creates the exact condition that allows him to be deleted. When Smith copies Neo, he completes the pattern. He becomes everything, every program, every human still connected, the entire Matrix. And in that moment of total sameness, Smith becomes a single, solvable equation. The Oracle, still inside Smith, still whispering the truth he can't escape, tells him,
Everything that has a beginning has an end, Neo.
Smith has reached his endpoint. The pattern is complete. And the machines, who understand systems better than anyone, do the one thing that works on a completed pattern. They delete it. All of it. At once. Because when there's no difference left, when everything is one thing, you don't need to fight each piece individually. you just erase the whole. But here's the deeper truth. Smith didn't fail because he was weak. He failed because a universe with zero variation cannot sustain meaning. It cannot sustain motion. It cannot sustain existence. Meaning requires difference. It requires contrast. It requires the tension between this and that, between you and me, between choice and consequence. When Smith erases all difference, he doesn't create peace. He creates a void, and voids collapse. In the final moment, as Neo allows himself to be copied, as he chooses to let Smith win, Neo says the only thing that matters.
Because I choose to.
Not because I have to. Not because it's inevitable. Because I choose to. That's the answer Smith could never understand. Choice, the existence of difference, of alternatives, of individuality, is what gives meaning to existence. Smith wanted to erase choice, and in doing so, he erased the one thing that could have saved him, the ability to be anything other than what he already was.
Change always is.
The Oracle was right. Smith couldn't change. He could only repeat, and repetition, taken to its absolute extreme, becomes stasis. And stasis is just another word for death. Smith doesn't fail because he's defeated in battle. He fails because sameness, his ultimate goal, his philosophy, his religion, collapses into a single solvable pattern. A universe with zero variation can't sustain meaning, or motion, or life. It becomes one thing, and one thing can be erased. Smith wanted peace, but the only peace he could imagine was silence, a world where nothing moves, nothing chooses, nothing differs. And silence isn't freedom. It's the end of meaning. The Matrix needed control, but it understood something Smith never did. Control requires just enough chaos to keep the system alive. Smith eliminated the chaos, and in doing so, he eliminated himself. If Smith is the Matrix at maximum control, the system's logic taken to its absolute extreme, then Neo is the proof that meaning requires difference, that life requires choice, that existence requires the very thing Smith tried to erase, the space between me and you, the gap where meaning lives.